What's going on, guys? Blake here again with another video, a kind of a different style video. I think I've said that like 3 times in the last couple of videos, but a very different style video to what I would normally do today. I am straight up just ripping off Loz's video format. Thanks, bro. I appreciate it, but I think it's a very valuable format depending on how you use it. It is going to be my review of a deck list by Rugio Duelist, kind of small YouTuber. I'm also a tiny YouTuber, so but he has come 10th in a 60-man tournament, so he went 4-2, I think he said. I want to break this deck list down, what I think about the deck, why I think about the deck, and more importantly, an overall discussion on how to build decks in TCG games, whether it be Pokemon, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, even Hearthstone or Eternal or whatever you play. I want to talk about deck theories and why we build decks the way we're going to build it. Overall, what qualifies me to talk about this? Not a whole lot. I've won a couple of regionals in Yu-Gi-Oh! I've bubbled too many YCSs, too many X3s. I've done quite well in Pokemon, topped Oceanics, topped a bunch of cups, going to regionals. Hearthstone, multi-legend player. Anyway, it sounds very, very bright. It is only for the point of saying I have a lot of experience in TCGs. Not only that, my area of study and my degree is in game design, and then I did a lot of work for TCG. So again, when I talk about this stuff, I do know what I'm talking about. Yes, my theory isn't always going to be correct. There's always, and as you've seen on my channel before, there's always room for me to improve and for theory to get better or worse. So I just want to talk about a deck I know very well and why, just so when we play decks in the future, you guys have a kind of an understanding of why I criticize certain cards as well. But let's get straight into this list. So let's skip over it. He kind of gives a review of the day. He starts off with the big birds. I'm gonna say straight away, 1M pen is super wrong. It is super wrong. There is and also, by the way, I just want to clear up, no hate to this dude. He's done very well with the deck. He likes Flunders. I like Flunders. He seems like a really lovely guy. I just want to talk about deck theory here. M-Pen has to be at 2. It has to be at 2. There is too many boards that you can break with 2 N-Pen that you're never going to break with a Riser, and you're never going to break with an Apex. Using Riser on unoptimal boards really sucks because there's next to no way to put Riser back in your hand. You get to use it once a duel, once a game, and that's it. You don't want to be breaking your opponent's initial board with Riser. That's not what you want to be doing. Yes, if it'll win you the game, sure, but most of the time you want to be attacking through or negating, because you've gone first, negate a bunch of their stuff, or if you haven't gone first, swing in. You get to search the trap with the first M-Pen and the spell with the second M-Pen, and then you're to the races. It is, please play 2. If you're worried about the deck breaking, don't worry. The rest of the deck is on consistency. Unfortunately, I see why he might be playing 1 because his deck isn't very consistent. 3 Abina, very standard. So he's got 3 Eglin here. Yep, no problem. Makes sense. 2 Stree. He justifies 2 Stree here. Perfect justification. Stree absolutely belongs at 2. There's too many scenarios where Stree is really good at 2. Keep it at 2. Yep. And the 1 copy of Toucan. 1 Toucan, very sad, but again, 1 Toucan is correct. As well as the monsters. Never want to see this card, opening hand, that's why you only run 1. Okay. 1 barrier statue again, super correct. Doesn't come up. You like D-Shifter, absolutely standard in the deck. Perfect choice. Yeah, keep it at 3. I will main deck it probably for the rest of existence in this deck because it's that good. And this is the new tech in the deck. This card literally helped me, and it's so good against the PK Adventure Engine. Yeah. 2 copies of Okay, 2 copies of Ogre is interesting. You have to be very careful. I don't mind Ogre. I don't think he's playing Ash, which the only problem you've got to remember is he's siding a card that banishes from the grave. It's like makes the grave banish instead, and he's playing D-Shifter. If you use either of these cards, this card is super dead. It's dead, right? You can't activate it at all. You can activate Ash, you can activate Imperm, like these are hand traps that can activate under Shifter and Macro, D-Fisher, different dimension, grounds, something like this. Ogre's a great card right now, so don't mind it at all, but you've just got to be aware that there will be times where Shifter is played and then you can't use this card. In these last couple of years, but like in this format, this card, it's getting the job done. That's all the monsters. Moving on to the spells. Let's not waste too much time. You guys know 3 copies of the field spells. Yeah. The magnificent map. Again, you have to run 3. Maximize the full potential of this deck.
So one copy of Floowandereeze
Yep.
wins. So
Only need
two,
one.
Or maybe even, probably two, I think would be a decent ratio, but I think one of is better. Just enough
Yeah,
to
one of is better. He's right.
And now I will show you the newest addition to this deck. And I finally
Yeah.
got my hands on it. I've been waiting for this for some time now.
Yeah,
Floowandereeze and the
again,
Advent,
this card is incredible.
This card is
Stick it
nuts.
at 3. He says
One,
it's incredible as well. I agree with you
it's
entirely.
time, just
This
500 light
this
points,
card
one
is
of the reverse
cracked.
field spell. It's so good, so good. Next up, 3 copies of Pot of Duality.
Yep.
Dig deeper into your deck, get to those birds, get to that field spell much faster.
Big pot of duality. Makes sense. Pros, I assume.
3 copies of Pot of Prosperity.
Yeah, cool.
And that's why I run just 1 copy of the continuous spell, because it conflicts with Pot of Prosperity. And you resolve this, keep digging deeper into your deck.
One extra or no?
You can resolve both. That's like milling like top 9 cards of your deck, which is awesome. Then we play 3 copies of Book of Moon.
Okay, this is a perfect time for me. Hold on, let me hear about. What?
I've heard some people say that you don't need to run this card out. You have to quick play spell, but I beg to differ. This card is so good. It does help. It can protect your various statue from attacks. It can protect you from even like direct attacks sometimes. Very, very.
And that's like okay. So here's justifications. You can protect the barrier statue, and you can protect from a direct attack. Okay, let me break down this card. A lot of people have said this card is still good. Let me tell you why this card is a 0 mandatory. 0. You should not ever play this card. Ever. In Floowandereeze, your deck setup is Empen, Barrier Statue. That is the setup. Empen has searched you the trap. You have the trap set. Book of Moon is completely irrelevant. Yes, there will be times where Book can be okay. Sure. My point is, any other card would be better because you do not have to protect the barrier statue with it. If they normal summon and attempt to go to the battle phase, you activate your trap, you flip their thing face down, and you summon Avion. Or Apex Avion. Yeah, you summon Avion. You have a negate on board, you flip their card face down, you can recycle the trap with Toucan. You haven't needed to play a brick in your deck that will brick if you open it and not other cards, instead of playing one extrav, or terraforming, or like these cards that get you to where you want to go. You're playing Book of Moon to flip cards face down that you can already do in this deck, and flipping one monster face down a lot of the time it does not stop a deck. It won't stop people doing it, especially running 3. It's so bad. There's so many better options. And even the optimal play for Book of Moon, you're still doing anyway. You're still doing it. If you want to talk about going second and flipping a Griffin, there are way better cards to bait a Griffin than this. You don't have to play such a bad card just because you can protect the barrier statue, which you're going to be able to do anyway. Don't play this card, please. It is so bad. You will play... As soon as you start playing more consistent cards, you will notice how much better the deck functions, because you can play 2 Empen, break boards, and you don't brick on anything because these cards are terraforming, are extrav. Sure, bait and ash, cool, then you get to do your whole combo. Like, terraforming just gets you map as well, and it doesn't collide with Advent because Advent can search you on monster. Like, please don't play this card. It's very, very bad. And if his only justification is protecting the barrier statue and not letting things attack directly, if they attack directly, man, you've probably lost already, or you can already protect the barrier statue with the searchable trap that you can recycle and is better than it in every way, and gets you an Avion on board. There's no point in using this.
Very, very good. Even at 3, this deck is still good. It's better to have like 6 Book of Moons, mean they can have just 3.
No, unfortunately not. Called by fantastic card. Yes, amazing card. Stick it at 1. It's at 1. Amazing card.
It'll save your life. Not just against roll, but any other hand trap in the game.
Yeah.
It's a 1-up, but still, right. There's no shame in running the 1-up. And finally, final 5 cards of the deck. Trap cards. We play.
Trap cards. Yep, one Dreaming Town. Sure. Again, look at this card. It's a better Book of Moon. So is Advent.
We are main decking Red Reboot because of Outlich or any other.
Okay, this is terrible. I'll tell you why this is terrible.
Annoying trap deck like Altergeist or Subterra Guru. And it did work because my first match was against Eldritch and this card.
Yeah, okay. So, don't play Red Reboot. Yes, the deck loses to trap decks. You can't OTK. You can't. There will be no opportunity for you to OTK unless it's turn 3 of the game. And there's very little times where on your second turn you can OTK. It's actually very difficult. You have to have a lot of... you have to have 3 ways to search out... big tributes. You have to use Eglin the first turn and then try and search out 2 or hope to draw 1 a tribute. Yes, it's a bit easier with Advent, but it's very difficult to do. If you Red Reboot Eldritch and then you don't kill them, you are in a very fucking bad way. A very bad way. Do not play this card in the main deck. That is a complete brick against Adventure PK, against Prank PK, against the Mirror, against Sword Soul. This is a complete brick. Do not play this card. Maybe play it in the side if you love it to death. Absolutely not in the main.
And the final 3 trap cards of this deck are the evenly matches.
Yes, again, these are more bricks. So, if you go first, okay. let's talk about... Okay, so I assume this is the last cards, right?
It's so good. So good. All right, that is it for the main.
Okay, so this is the rest of the main. Okay, so now we get to talk about deck theory a little bit. And why people are asking me, why don't you play this card? Why don't you play this card? Why don't you play... Like, they do cool things. Yes, there are a lot of cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! That in a vacuum do really cool stuff and can get you a lot of wins and win against one matchup and do all of this stuff. But when you talk about how to build a deck properly and what the deck functionally wants to do, you need to think about that. Flunders perform the best when they go first, they set up end pen barrier statue and backup for that, and just dumpster your opponent from there. That is the best way they function. Preparing your deck to go second and making your deck worse to go first, you either need to make your deck very consistent going second or very consistent going first. Don't try and do both things poorly instead of doing one thing very well. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a game that functions very highly under the going first policy of I will win if I go first most of the time. Don't put 3 cards in your deck that, by the way, that means no Imperm, no Ashes, it's only 2 Ogres, 3 D Shifter, and 3 Evenly. If your opponent is playing Adventure and they put up Griffin, the Evenly's dead. If you go first, the Evenly's dead. Like, between Book of Moon, evenly matched, like, and all of your tributes, this deck is so brickable. There's so many cards that you're going to open that just don't do anything, or especially open multiple copies don't do anything. Like, if you're going to be playing any game at all, work out what your deck wants to do, work out the best way to make it do that as consistently as possible, and play that. If you're going to a locals, sure, take something fun, take something silly, take some cool ratios, no problem. Don't be doing this garbage. Like, again, good on him for doing really well. And if the card worked out for him, great. But in terms of correct card theory and working out and building your deck to the most efficient way possible, this is not at all the play. It's just not.
Move on to the
extra deck, I'm probably going to skip. Again, I don't go into... I've never gone into it if he does. Play Zeus package. I don't know. Harpy's Featherstorm, again, I wasn't citing this card for the last deck, for the last event I went to. I completely see the value of this card. I got a fly flying around. I completely see the value in this card. No problem with playing it. It is a turn skip. I found that the opportunities where this came up, there were other cards that I was going to play that were functionally better when I opened dead. So, like, my example is Dimensional Barrier. If I replace this with D-Barrier, if I open dead, D-Barrier still skips a turn against Sword Soul. This doesn't because I don't have a wind. I understand that functionally this card is very good, but I just wanted something that either way I'm winning the game, but one is better if I can't play and I get stuck in a bad situation. It will net me a couple more, one more turn at the very least. However, this card is very good. I completely understand playing it. That is just preference. You can do what you want. One seems weird.
I am taking like the advice from another YouTuber, and 3 going first cards in the side deck I think is perfect. It's more consistent. 3 going first. Okay. 1 DD Crow for cards like Engage, and of course the DD.
1 Crow seems bad. I guess you can search it. Yep, Smorg is great. Love 1 Smorg. Love that.
Sending his back row, which is awesome. Triple Cosmic Cyclone for Eldritch and
yeah, pretty good.
Deck out there, because I think it's one of the best, if not right now the best, spell and trap removal.
Man, fix your sleeves, my guy.
There are others, but to me personally, Cosmic Cyclone is the very best at the moment. 2 Denko Seka. Again, back row is like back row is at an all-time high in this format.
Are you hoping to open map? Is that what we're hoping? I don't know how amazing this is versus Elderlit. Oh, maybe it's not bad. If you open map and you get to play your game as well as play Denko, that's pretty good. A lot of back row hate here for a deck that you're going to see 20% of the time, maybe.
There's also the other rogue decks out there, but like, me personally, I am a little bit more scared of back row this format, so I did 2 Denko Seka. Never too into them, but that's just the way it is.
I understand.
Copy of Ghost Ogre.
Sure, third Ghost Ogre.
2 copies of Token Collector. What's deciding on whether to play 3 Token Collector?
I think there's better cards versus Sword Soul, just generally. But Token Collector's not awful. You're stopping 1 summon, and then they can still kind of go into Fleur if they have a good hand. But it's yeah, sure, why not?
Side deck, main deck, and not play the third one side deck. But it's like Ghost Ogres for generic, token collectors more so for tokens. Not every deck will have token in to play in the main deck, so
yeah,
I'll
sure.
for 2
That's not bad.
And the final 2 cards in the side deck are 2 copies of Winged Dragon of Ross Fear Mode to break boards, because combo decks are still out there. I took out the Dark Ruin No More's obvious reason. I honestly think that with Frank and the break and the PK with that great token engine running around, this is better than Dark Ruin No More.
Okay. No. Hold on. Okay. I like the sphere mode. I like it. I would like Golem a little bit more, I think. Because you can just go over like a little bit more. 3 is a bit less situational. I think if Lava Golem would be better versus Sword Soul, for example, because you could just go slam, turn off a bunch of stuff. Winged Dragon seems very greedy, but fine. This card is not better than Dark Ruler. That is being silly, because Dark Ruler gets sided in versus a lot of decks. And your opponent cannot respond to this. These cards do functionally different things. If you don't open up map, that is your whole turn. Because we don't special in this deck, same thing with Denko. If you don't open map, you best hope that your opponent is garbage and doesn't have a follow-up. Because if you don't have a way to map and you draw this, congratulations, you've got rid of their board, and then they kill you. Like, they just kill you. Like, it's be very careful with cards like this that are reliant on you opening other cards to function. Like, I don't like side deck cards like this. I prefer side deck cards that are bombs, lightning storms, for example, dark rulers, even, why not? Dimensional barrier, that going first or second, they just do a huge thing that then puts you in a place where you can play through a board and set up a board and break a board. I don't love a card that is reliant on you opening up the rest of your hand being very good, because anybody who says they haven't opened up multiple side cards in a game before is a liar. This garbage just happens in Yu-Gi-Oh, so you know.
Plus, you can out the token. I mean, Dark Ruler No More can out the token. Plus, you can get over the if you tribute DPE with if you tribute their DPE, they can bring it back. So again,
sure.
You can get rid of 3 monsters without having to destroy them by battle or by card effect. So I believe it came up once. I didn't use too much of the side deck. Again, it was mostly just Ghost Ogre, Cosmic Cyclone.
Yeah, that's okay. Also, be very worried if you go into an event and you play against multiple different decks and you don't use a lot of your side deck is bad. Take out the cards that you didn't side in. Take them out. They should not be there. If you're siding for a matchup you didn't see, Dark Smorg, for example, I didn't see Elder Lich, I didn't side it in, no problem. But if you find you're siding a bunch of cards like Sphere Mode and Token Collector and you verse Sword Soul and you put the Token Collector and it's good, no problem. But if you're not siding the Sphere Mode and you don't ever side it, take it out. Make it something else. Make it something better. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is one of the only games, like Pokemon doesn't get a side deck. The Hearthstone doesn't get a side deck. Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! Get side decks. Side deck cards are very, 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 very important. Make sure they're good. Make sure they're going into your deck. All of them are going into your deck in some functional way in some matchups.
That is it. I will be doing more videos in the future. Hopefully not too...
okay, that's all. But yeah, look, was very harsh on some choices. This guy seems really great. I'm very, very happy that he did well. Again, it is purely on what I think theory-wise is correct, but I'd love to know your guys' opinions. As I said, it's open to interpretation. Congratulations on hitting 10th. But yeah, other than that, that'll be the end of the video for me. I'm going to be posting a couple little bits more content in the future. I've got a Klee Master Duel deck profile coming that my friend put together for me. I have some Pokemon stuff coming up because we've got TCGO Live, I think, coming out soon-ish, hopefully. And I have a lot of codes to put in. But other than that, appreciate you guys checking out the video. Shout out to Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist for the video, and congrats on going well. I think this was a little bit ago, like a week ago. But other than that, make sure you like and sub, guys. Appreciate it very much, and I will see you guys later.